Welcome, I'm Brian Ross, Chief Investigative Correspondent for ABC News. And today we're taking a hard look at what went wrong when a small-town police department in Texas teamed up with NBC News and its popular Dateline series to catch a predator. Of course, we at ABC News work all the time with law enforcement authorities, getting leads, working stories, taping their activities. It's part of robust journalism. But what happened in Murphy, Texas is what many in law enforcement say can go wrong, tragically wrong, when the news media and law enforcement get just too close.
You ever watch Dateline NBC?
As 6 other police departments around the country had done before, Murphy, Texas police made a deal with Dateline, not only to allow NBC cameras to record the sting,
Police department, get on the ground!
But also, to the astonishment of the local district attorney, the Murphy police let people hired by Dateline actually set up and run the sting.
The police department, the professionals, weren't in control of the entire operation. They weren't calling the shots. Somebody else was.
District Attorney John Roach says his office warned the Murphy police in advance, in writing, it was a bad idea. We're in the law enforcement business, not show business, reads the letter.
Police on the ground now!
But the Murphy police went ahead with NBC Dateline anyway, even ignoring the protest of local residents who didn't want their neighborhood used as a place to lure sexual predators.
Why did they have to bring him to our neighborhood?
On the ground.
By the time it was over, 23 men were arrested in the sting, all but 2 from outside Murphy, as seen in 2 dramatic primetime hours that produced big ratings for NBC.
And I'm ashamed to have been a part of it. I'm truly ashamed to have been a part of that.
As Murphy police detectives, Sam Love and Walt Weiss played a big role in the operation.
There was nothing wrong with having a sting operation in Murphy. There's nothing wrong with putting a child sexual predator behind bars. But you can't do it sloppily.
Months after millions of viewers watched the arrest of 23 suspects in Murphy, the district attorney dismissed all criminal charges against them, saying there were problems with the jurisdiction and that the evidence was hopelessly lacking or compromised.
You want to entertain, that's okay, but you got to get the police work done first.
So they really dropped the ball here.
Yes, they did.
By going into business, essentially, with NBC and Perverted Justice.
That's exactly right. By giving up their role as professional law enforcement officers for a few minutes of TV time.
NBC News has declined repeated requests from us to appear in our report or even provide a written statement. The group that works with Dateline doing the stings, Perverted Justice, says the Texas district attorney is telling a lie and that his office is deceitful and incompetent. One more reason the district attorney says serious law enforcement officials should avoid working with that group. I'm joined now by ABC News investigative producer Vic Walter, who worked with me on the story, which airs on 2020 this Friday. Vic, you and I both worked at NBC for several decades. In fact, we worked on the Dateline program. Now NBC News has called into question the motives that we had and ABC had in doing the story, suggesting we're doing it out of a frenzy for ratings. Give me and tell our viewers, how did this story start?
Well, Brian, I heard about this story while attending an investigative reporters convention during the summer. And I was told that Dateline NBC had gone and asked the Murphy Police Department if they could partake in a sting operation. And that was in Murphy, Texas. So I went to Murphy, Texas, and my first stop was to see the district attorney, John Roach.
He's the one who appears in our program.
That's
here.
correct.
He's highly critical.
And he's the one that declined prosecution on 23 sexual predators who had been arrested during the sting by the Murphy Police Department. And I wanted to ask him why those charges had been dropped or dismissed. He declined prosecution. And he told me that the evidence was seriously flawed.
And what did you hear from the Murphy Police Department?
Nothing. I had tried repeatedly to talk to Chief Myrick, and I got no response.
Nothing at all. You went to the department?
I went to the department. I asked in person. I made phone calls. And each time there was no response.
So I know the answer to this, but what does that suggest to someone who's trying to do a story when people clam up?
Well, to me it rang a bell. And I pursued it farther, and I went and saw a couple of the detectives that worked on the sting.
Now you got those 2 detectives to sit down and talk with us.
That's correct, yes.
And they really are insiders telling their story.
That's correct.
Why do they want to do this? Are they just sort of disgruntled employees?
No, I don't believe that. I think that these were 2 veteran detectives. They saw things that took place during the sting operation that they said didn't add up.
And they were ashamed to be part of it.
They were truly ashamed, they said.
Now, it is unusual for ABC News to be doing a story about something NBC News was involved with. What about the NBC contention? We're just trying to hype ratings or being competitive with them. I know the answer, but I want to hear it from you because you're the one who drove the train here. What is that about?
I don't know. I couldn't tell you.
Are you surprised to hear that?
I am surprised to hear that. This was a story that I think warranted a very close look and attention, and I went to Murphy, Texas for no other reason than to find out why those 23 cases were dropped.
Vic, thank you very much. Our full story will be on 2020 this Friday, and continuing coverage and updates can be found on our website called The Blotter, located at abcnews.com. I want to hear what you have to say about this report and others. Send us your video, comments, or question. Just go to the Brian Ross and the Investigative Team website at abcnews.com and click on Anonymous. For all of us at the ABC News Investigative Team, thanks for joining us, and we'll see you soon on the web.
Go to abcnews.com anytime for Brian Ross and the Investigative Team. The reporting never stops at abcnews.com.